Hello, Sanford, and welcome to the Sanford Sports Radio. You are listening to The Howler, here with your host, myself, Jonathan West. As last week was a tough loss for the Sanford College Coyotes, as they lost to the Northern Illinois Huskies, and that ground game combined with that no-huddle offense of Northern Illinois got the best of Sanford, as it was a tough loss to take. Luckily, they did have a bye week. So technically it was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry about that. But they got a bye week. They got to look back. They got to sit down. They got to rest. And that is huge going into this week's game. Of course, it is the senior day game, the final home game of the season here at Sanford. And they're riding a 3-game losing spell. They've got to make up for that. However, they can play spoilers, as Akron is riding a 3-game win streak. So this is a chance for Sanford not only to stop their losing ways, but for Akron to stop their winning ways. Now, it was pretty big that I got an opportunity right before the bye week came to a close to get to talk to some of the players and the coaches. But most importantly, I got to talk to Leslie Ingram, the senior safety. The only senior I got a chance to get a word with, and it was huge hearing from him about how much this week's game means. It's the last day he'll suit up in front of the home fans at the Den. So it's huge, and he's been portraying #DefendTheDen more than anybody, I think, on the team. So definitely going to be one guy to watch. As let's talk about recruiting, and the big story coming out of the recruiting scene is Cameron Wilson. He is apparently done talking to Sanford. Coaches are still fighting to get a word in and edgewise with him to try and talk him back to the Coyotes. He just won't listen. So there's a lot of question marks going on if Cameron Wilson is going to make his decision this week, or if he's going to wait and see if Sanford can make a good argument. Nobody really knows. Nobody really has any idea. So that is the big question mark, as Air Force is still in the lead for Flash Gibson. However, Sanford not far behind. And for a couple of the other recruits, as we've normally talked about, Sanford is highly in the lead. So you can expect Sanford to be gaining maybe 1 to 2 more recruits as we go into the final game next week at Ohio. So far in the recruiting trail, the big news is, of course, Flash Gibson, and the bigger one, Cameron Wilson. And the coaches have put all their manpower into Wilson. They want to get to talk to him before the offseason comes if he does not decide to sign anywhere. If he does not commit anywhere by the offseason, the coaches want to be there. They want to be the first man in, last man out to talk to him. So we'll see how things go on that front next week. But one big thing to talk about here while practice was rolling, I actually got a big opportunity to talk to all 3 coaches about how this week's game was going to be different than the last 2 games. And from Coach Martin's perspective, he said they want to be more balanced. They don't want to kind of weigh on Anderson to do everything, both running the football and passing the football. They want senior Lee Mayfield to get a lot of snaps in senior day. They want him to have a good showing in his last performance at home. It was a lot more talk of not wanting to make sure this team rolled through Anderson. So that was nice to hear on the offensive side of things. On the defensive side of things, Mark Riley said he wants everyone to shine. He doesn't want just the defensive front to shine. He doesn't want just the linebackers to shine. He wants everybody to make big plays this week. And the goal was making sure those corners were ready to cover anyone and everyone. And with Chris Wood on the outside, I think that is a very big possibility. And I think the Stephen Young change, putting Chris Woods on the outside and taking Young and putting him down in the depth chart, I think that has worked for the best. And finally, talking to Coach Wolf, I asked him how he saw this week's game, and surprisingly, he was fairly calm about it. I was expecting a lot more stress coming from him, saying that his coordinators are on the line this year. Nobody's certain of their job security. But he said as long as these boys play to the potential that the coaches know they have and that they know they have, there's no question that Akron isn't coming out on top. I think I worded that wrong, but nonetheless, he noted that as long as these kids play to their top potential, Sanford is coming out the winners, and Akron will not be continuing their win streak. So we will see you folks Saturday in a winter wonderland as there's more snow in the forecast. You've been listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. Hello, Sanford, and welcome to the Den here in Sanford, Maine. That's the Sanford City Stadium. For those new here to the broadcast, you're listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. I'm Jonathan West, your man on the call, and it's time to hashtag defend the Den for the last time for some of these seniors going out there. As senior day is here, and it is snowing insanely. But nonetheless, the Sanford Coyotes have to fight through the white snow. They have to fight through the Akron Zips. And they've got to fight through maybe themselves if mistakes take place in order to get this big W. Not only for themselves, but for all the seniors out there. The coaches were pushing that earlier this week. They believe in this team. They believe the mistakes these teams have made over the past 2 weeks have been resolved. I'm not sure what to think anymore after what we saw at Bowling Green and, of course, 2 weeks ago against Northern Illinois. We'll see if this team's issues are now behind them as they get ready for action, and they're going to kick it off as Sammy Carter, the man who kicks it away to Akron, as that is Van Edwards Jr. to return this kick. And he's got room. He has a nice stiff arm as Carter just touches him and is able to at least take off his balance, take him down after a nice 43-yard return. 1st and 10 here for the Zips out of shotgun. That's Woodson, who people were questionable if he was going to be able to play today. He is on the field as the screen to Jerome Lane goes nowhere. 2nd and 10 now. Back in the shotgun. We're going to see more no huddle today, it looks like, as Woodson hands off to Warren Ball, and Ball's not going far. Only a gain of 4, as that's going to bring up 3rd and 7, they're saying. So maybe not even a full 4 yards. As Woodson throws, he connects with A.J. Connie, as it says here. And that is going to be a gain of 3, but they're keeping the offense out there, and Gary Colvin with the tackle, turning the ball over on downs as the first play of the Sanford offense goes to Lee Mayfield. The senior dropped for 4, his final day suiting up. Wearing the black and white combination today are the Coyotes. 2nd and 14 is Anderson to throw. He connects with Herb Fellows. The sophomore picks up 6. He's been the go-to guy, of course. On the other side of him is the senior Mike Ashley, who hopefully will get his name called more than once today. 3rd and 7, as that's Herb Fellows again. Back-to-back catches, as that's 12 yards for Fellows. 1st and 10 now in the shotgun. Handoff goes to Mayfield, and he's going to take it up for a gain of 1. Nothing much going on the ground game for Lee Mayfield today. 2nd and 9 as Nigel McTaggart checks in to give Mayfield a spell, and he gets some blocks to the outside. That's going to be a gain of 8. Good first carry for McTaggart. I'll say it like I've said all season. He's played so well with a short amount of reps. As Mayfield gets enough for the first, that's a gain of 2, so just enough for the first down here in this snow. As the Sanford fans are going crazy already, as Sanford's nearing the red zone early. Anderson able to get the ball off before he is decked. That's Harrison Frazier, and he's going to gain 8 on that reception. Another senior to keep in mind, we haven't called his name yet, though, is Sean Merritt, the big tight end. As Lee Mayfield gains 4 on another carry. The senior getting a lot of work in. It's good to see. 1st and 10. They go option. There goes Anderson into the end zone. Touchdown, Sanford, as Dante Anderson gets a rushing touchdown today. They come at him with Mayfield for the most part and then hit him with Anderson on the option. I don't think Akron expected the, statue of a quarterback to take it in. As it's 1st and 10 here for Akron now as they're down 7-0. That's going to be a gain of 3 for Warren Ball, taken down by Shane Townsend. Townsend looking for 10 sacks on the season. He's got 8 right now. As Woodson pitches it off the ball here. And that's going to be a solid gain of 13. That's going to be a new set of down for the Zips as Dante McPherson was able to take him down. 1st and 10 now as the no huddle rolls on for Akron. Woodson to throw. And he's just going to toss this one away as it's good coverage all over. And this defense happy about that. Akron back in the shotgun. Woodson with his man in motion. As he takes the snap, goes play action. Woodson's going to take off for it. And that's going to be enough for the first as he's brought down by Trey McLaughlin, the sophomore linebacker. And the leader of this defense. As 1st and 10 back for Van Edwards here as he's the man who returned the football to start the game. And the running back gets up to about the 25-yard line off a gain of 17 there. Got some good blocks around that left side. 1st and 10, still no huddle going. Woodson hands off to Edwards, and he is bottled up. He's dropped for a loss of 2 as I believe he lost his footing trying to get through a crowd. 2nd and 12 now as the rotation is coming to play. As down goes Woodson. He loses the football. Big hit by Leslie Ingram. Jars it loose from the offensive lineman that picked it up. Turnover for Sanford. It was Trey Galloway that got there to turn the ball over. It was Trey Galloway who got there for the sack and the forced fumble. And it is Leslie Ingram, the senior, who forces the offensive lineman to cough it up. As Anderson rolls out, he connects with Antoine Bradford on the short connection. That's going to be a gain of 6. 2nd and 4 here is Anderson to throw over the middle. Finally, the senior Sean Merritt at tight end gets a little love as that's a 7-yard gain. 1st and 10 now as the first quarter is close to coming to a close. Anderson to throw. And that is a beautiful deflection by Larry Hope. You got to give the defensive back a lot of credit there. 2nd and 10 now as the handoff goes to Mayfield. He powers through a couple. That's going to be nearly a first down. They'll give him 10, but not enough for the first. 3rd and inches as they go McTaggart. McTaggart takes it up just past the 40 to about the 37-yard line. That's going to be a big first down and take us to the end of the first quarter of play. Sanford is firing on all cylinders, folks, as they're up 7-0 over Akron. Welcome back, folks, to the Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West, your man on the call. It's 7-0 Sanford on top, as that is a deflection. Intended target, I believe, was Mike Ashley. As Mayfield looks to, Anderson looks to throw. And speaking of Mike Ashley, there he is as a big play there, but they won't call that a touchdown? Are you kidding me? I feel like he landed in the end zone. Where does his knee come down? They're showing the replay, and his knee did look to come down at the 1, but he is down. That is not something you want to see here on Senior Day. As Mike Ashley was taken to the sidelines, he looks to be okay. He might actually be able to return as a throwaway there from Dante Anderson. Nobody open. 2nd and goal from the 1. The pitch is out to Mayfield. He is dropped for a loss of 3 as I'm getting word that, yes, indeed, Mike Ashley will be back. They're just going to let him rest for a little bit. It wasn't that bad, just a couple back spasms. As Anderson to throw, and he just gets that one off. Ulysses Gilbert III able to get some serious pressure as Sanford has to settle. Warren Ball now takes the handoff here for Akron. That's going to be a gain of nothing as Trey McLaughlin was all over him. Second and 10 now is Woodson to throw out of shotgun. Nearly intercepted by Richard Cruz. We've been waiting all season to see him get his first pick of his career. He almost had it there. Third and 10. Woodson to throw. Waiting for it, going deep. That's Leslie Ingram. The senior not only gets a forced fumble, but an interception in his last home game. Good on you, Leslie. Good job. What a play by Leslie Ingram. It's Sanford football again thanks to the senior, as Lee Mayfield with the carry, but he's going to go back for another loss. That's going to only be of 1 yard, though. It's not as bad as the last. Second and 11 here is Mayfield. Being used for play action, as that's Frazier who can't hold on to it. He drops another one. He hadn't had those issues as of late. Early on in the season, that was a big issue, as Anderson gets dropped for a loss of 14 on that sack. That's going to lead to a Sanford punt. Good field position for Akron to start here is Woodson to throw. He connects with JoJo Natson. That's going to be a gain of about 17, as I believe a face mask didn't get called there. Sanford got away with one. First and 10 now for Akron as the no huddle continues. Shotgun formation. Woodson looks to throw, and that one's batted away. That was Luke Lumpkin almost coming away with an interception. Second and 10, 5 wide set. Woodson looks to throw, but he goes down. That's number 9 for Shane Townsend. Almost said Trent there for a second. 9 sacks on the season so far for Shane Townsend. He is 1 away from double digits. As Woodson to throw again, he steps up, finds Austin Wolf, no relation to Coach Darren Wolf, as that is a 42-yard completion. That was a beautiful throw, put right where Wolf could get it. As first and 10 now for Sanford, as Lee Mayfield can't find any running room today. It's been tough on him. As it's 10-7, Sanford on top. Anderson to throw. He's going to try and roll out. And it looked like he had an intended target, but just couldn't get it to him. Third and 12, Anderson to throw here. To the sideline, that's Herb Fellows. First down, Sanford, 17 yards. As first and 10 handoff goes to Antoine Bradford, the fullback gets a little love. That's going to be a gain of 4, and he looks shaken up now. That's not good. Mike Ashley has returned to the ball game, if you folks were wondering, as that is Herb Fellows again on the reception. He is really shining here today, almost reminding me of week 2 against NC State. First and 10 after the Fellows catch. Handoff goes to Mayfield, and Mayfield finds running room there. A gain of 10 and a first down for the senior. Finally, he finds a great amount of room to run. As they go to the option, but Anderson not finding room like last time. He's going to go down for a loss of 3. Brian Bell, the man on the tackle. As a minute and a half remains, Coach Wolf not taking those timeouts, as Nigel McTaggart falls for a loss of 2. We're almost done with this first half as Anderson looks to throw. He was, I guess, intended for, I'm not sure if Sean Merritt was the intended target, but Mark Dockery almost came up with it. As a minute remains, and Akron has a chance to possibly tie this one up. Austin Wolf with an 18-yard reception. As first and 10 here. Woodson looking to throw. He connects with Lane. That's going to be enough for a 12-yard gain. First down, Akron, as they take their second time out. First and 10 here in the shotgun. Woodson looking to throw. And he somehow connects with Wolf as Chris Woods was all over him. That was a great connection and a new set of downs here for Akron as time continues to tick. Woodson on the run here. And he doesn't have enough for the first. They'll give him 10, but just not enough. Second and inches as the no huddle continues. Woodson quickly throws the ball. Warren Ball gains enough for the first, a gain of 9. As they'll start running this no huddle some more. Clock is still ticking though as Woodson to throw. Rolling out now, he's taken off. As he is hit hard, loses the football, picked up by Elliott Flowers. No points for Akron as this defense has been hungry today. And they're going to say the senior linebacker, Theo Davis, forced it. Was kind of a combination between him and McLaughlin that really forced that fumble. But nonetheless, great play by the defense as 7 seconds remain before the half. Setting up a screen for Mayfield. A nice spin move by Lee as that's a gain of 12. Final play of the half, folks. 2 seconds left. They're going to go play action. And Anderson falls to the snow. That's a loss of 12, and that will take us to the end of the first half. Sanford is on top 10-7. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio. We'll be back with the second half after this. Welcome back to the Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West. It's 10-7, and the second half has just begun. And it begins with an interception. Hope for Akron just gets a pick 6. And conveniently, there's now hope for the Zips as they take the lead in this ball game with that pick 6. 14-10, Akron on top, as now Anderson has to try and come back from that pick 6 he just threw. Lee Mayfield can only gain 1 on that carry. So Anderson goes play action. Hooks up with Antoine Bradford. A nice catch, or a nice throw and catch. And a 16-yard gain there as he was able to get a nice chunky yardage afterwards. So they go back to the option. Anderson looking for a place to run. Can't find one. He'll go down for a 2-yard loss. Jamal Marcus, the man on the tackle. As in the full house set, the handoff goes to McTaggart. Is Akron defense? They are showing some life here as a gain of nothing there for McTaggart from Hamilton. As Anderson to throw. Hooks up with Fellows. Big first down, gain of 17. Fellows finding his way open constantly today. First and 10 from the shotgun. Handoff to Mayfield. He's corralled quickly. Only a gain of 1. As 2nd and 9 now under center is Anderson. He's going to throw, connects with Fellows. Another first down. There we go, folks. This team is flowing, and the passing attack has worked well with Fellows today. They've kept it on the ground. They've kept themselves balanced as a handoff to Lee Mayfield goes for a gain of 5. The running attack may not be working well, but they continue to do it to keep themselves balanced, and I like it. As McTaggart takes the handoff this time. Gain of 3. McTaggart's still in the ball game. They hand off to him. And did he get it? They're going to give it to him. First down after a 2-yard gain. This crowd is going crazy as Sanford is in the red zone. Anderson to throw. Hooks up with Sean Merritt. He's down inside the 10. 13-yard gain. First and goal. Handoff goes to McTaggart. He's fighting for yards, and he is dropped at the 1 after a 7-yard gain. Just couldn't fight his way into the end zone. Second and goal here. Pitch goes out to Mayfield. And the senior running back gets a touchdown in senior day. Lee Mayfield scores in his last home game donning the blue and silver. A great day for Lee Mayfield as he started this season not even the starting running back, but has had a solid year overall. As Connie with a reception, but he's brought down, I believe, by the face mask. And indeed it is. That's what they're calling here. That's an extra 15 for Akron. Stephen Young, the man called on the face mask. Word is Young has not been happy with the demotion down the depth chart. So maybe a little bit of frustration there. As down goes Woodson for a loss of 4. That's Trey McLaughlin. Second and 14 in the shotgun is Woodson as he's going to throw. That's Warren Ball. As Ball is dropped, that's McLaughlin is one of the two men that came down to get him. 3rd and 10 here. Shotgun formation, Woodson. He looks to throw, he's brought down. That is Elliott Flowers with the sack. As Flowers picks up another big sack on the season. He hasn't had many. That one is a big one. Akron has punted it away back to Sanford again as Anderson going to take off on the option, and he's going to slide for safety. Nice job, Anderson, after getting that first down. This will be the final play of the 3rd quarter here, folks, as a curl route to Mike Ashley. Finally, we get to call his name again. He's back in the ballgame after some back spasms earlier in the day, but nonetheless, he's good as that takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Sanford up 17-14. You're listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. We'll be back with the 4th quarter after this. Welcome back, folks, to the Sanford Sports Radio. It is the final quarter of play. Sanford on top, 17-14 is play action from Anderson. He's taken off. A nice block from Bradford, but a gain of 7 by Anderson as he goes out of bounds. 2nd and 3, Mayfield taking off on the handoff. That's going to be a gain of about 3, but he's still going to be just about a yard short. As the handoff goes to McTaggart out of the full house, he'll get it, and this team is once again rolling. As they are nearing the red zone, Anderson to throw. He connects with Mike Ashley, as that's going to near a first down. 2nd and 1 upcoming after the 9-yard gain. 2nd and 1 here in the red zone now is Anderson to throw off play action. No, he's going to take off. Indeed, he will. He wanted the end zone, but he falls just short, about a yard or 2. As this time, he wasn't going to fumble in the end zone like he did back in Bowling Green. 1st and goal here from the 2. Pitch goes to McTaggart, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown, Sanford, as now both backs have a touchdown. As they now take a 2-possession lead over Akron, and this team is feeling the momentum, you can tell. It's 1st and 10 for Akron, and the shotgun's Woodson. He'll hand off to Warren Ball, and he's dragged down by another senior on this defense, Lamar Poland. 2nd and 8. As a handoff, no, it's play action, and that is JoJo Natson, who is lit up by Luke Lumpkin. 3rd and 7 now after the Natson reception. Shotgun formation for Woodson. He's going to take off, but he won't! Number 10 on the season. That is Shane Townsend, who has now hit double-digit sacks. Who would have thought in the first year of this team we'd be saying there is a double-digit sack total by one of these defensive ends? Shane Townsend does it. 1st and 10 here in the offset eye. Man in motion is Bradford. Mayfield going to take the carry, and he gains 4 on that after taking a big shoulder. 2nd and 6 now. Deep ball from Anderson, and it is intercepted. As that is a big pick for this team. Anderson been playing extremely solid as James Turner was able to get the interception. As the safety came down in front of Mike Ashley to make the play. As we'll see if Akron can do anything with it, though, as this defense has been an angry monster for Sanford. Is Woodson to throw here? No, he wants to run, but he goes down. Sacked again by Elliott Flowers, who caught him by the leg. 2nd and 11 now. Shotgun formation as time is ticking away from Akron. Just over 3 minutes. As Woodson wants to run but can't go anywhere. He's sacked again. Elliott Flowers, as he now has a school record for sacks in a game. Woodson to throw. He chucks it up. And it's intercepted. Dante McPherson in the end zone. I don't think he realized he was in the end zone at first. Tried to take it back for a second. But that is going to be a touchback now with that interception. But Dante McPherson has really come on strong at the end of this season. 1st and 10, handoff goes to McTaggart, and he takes it around the edge for a gain of 9 there. As McTaggart's had a solid day, and you combine him with Mayfield, they've both been doing very well. 2nd and 1, Anderson under center. They are going to use all of this clock in order to kill it for Akron. They don't want Akron to be able to have a single chance as the handoff when the play clock struck 2. That they hand off for Mayfield as the first time out for Akron is taken. One more first down, and this game is over, folks, as Mayfield with the carry. That's going to be a gain of 4. 2nd and 6 now in the pistol. Handoff goes to McTaggart, and he'll take it up. That's going to be a gain of just about enough. 6 yards, but not enough for the first. Handoff goes to Mayfield, and Mayfield has just clinched this game as that will seal it. As there is the final knee of this ball game, folks. Anderson has put it away for the seniors here in Senior Day, the final home game of the season. The Coyotes are victorious. They did it not only for themselves to snap that 3-game losing streak, but for the seniors here at Sanford. And that is enormous, as next week there will be an open practice, the final practice of the season, as they prepare for their final game at Ohio, the final MAC conference game of the season, and overall final game of the season. So we will see you live on the Howler here for that. That will take place at its normal time, as you folks know. The Sanford College Coyotes, though, with the win here today, 24-14 over the Akron Zips, and a monstrous day with the seniors going home. Happy Lee Mayfield with a touchdown, Mike Ashley with a hell of a performance, and Leslie Ingram with a hell of a performance. As thank you folks for joining us here on the Sanford Sports Radio. We will see you this next week for Live Howler as another open practice before the last game of the regular season.